Good morning, I'm Jennifer Tomazik. Thanks so much for joining us today for Racine Me. Reading is so important for every child, but there's a new way to teach some children who need a little bit of extra help. Here to tell us about Mrs. Myers' Reading Room is Tammy Myers. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
We
Thank
appreciate
you for having
this.
us.
Absolutely. So, Mrs. Myers' Reading Room, you're Mrs. Myers, and this is all the brainchild that you had here. Tell us about what makes your reading program different.
Our reading program is different, primarily because of the way that we motivate the children to learn. We use a multimodality approach, which includes not just seeing and hearing, but touching and feeling, and then immediately applying what you've learned to make a creation of your own story, and then go in to your own environment, to school, to home, to McDonald's, the grocery store, and apply what you've learned through reading.
So we're not talking about just sitting down and reading for an hour or two with an instructor. These kids are moving.
Oh, they are moving from room to room. We call them chapters because we want it to feel like a book.
Oh, nice.
And they start in the video room where we do our review and we have our core vocabulary. That vocabulary actually, through the course of our program, develops into a dynamic vocabulary where the children will be exposed to and will learn hundreds of words over the course of a few weeks.
And that is the key to reading, is knowing what words mean, learning new words when you're out there reading. Where did you get the inspiration for Mrs. Myers' Reading Room?
Well, I'm a speech pathologist by profession, and I've been in private practice for over 20 years. That in the last decade, I've started using reading for children as a compensatory strategy for children to help them in everyday life be successful, especially children that have difficulty with language and understanding language. And the success that the children were able to achieve through a multimodality approach, having them get up and do and apply reading to life management that was meaningful to them, inspired me to think outside of my little box and say we need to have everyone, all children need to learn to love to read, all of them. And we saw a need in the Racine community and we're seeking to fill the need.
Now, is this program geared towards a certain type of children or a certain age children?
We offer our program for children ages 5 to 12.
Okay.
We feel that that is the most beneficial time for children to use what we have to offer. With our curriculum is based upon the first 1,000 high-frequency words, and we build upon that, and improved reading comprehension skills. And we use movement, interaction, and technology to build those skills.
Now, the kids that are coming in, are they at different reading levels within their different grades and their different ages as well?
We have children that are struggling reading at their particular age level or grade level.
Okay.
And then we also have children that are reading right where they should be, but just want to be inspired or want to have some fun reading. And those groups are intermixed. We have a group dynamic that takes place because each group follows through a session for about 8 to 9 weeks. And those children bond, that dynamic vocabulary explodes, and then it is reinforced because the videos that we've created that go along with our program, the dynamic vocabulary for each session is reinserted into those videos. So the children get to see it again the next time, and that becomes their program.
So they're kind of picking these words,
Exactly.
saying these are words I want to know more about, and then I think it's interesting with the follow through. So they come one week and then they see it at the same time. So the repetitive nature kind of helps them probably understand and memorize these words.
Yes, well, they memorize the words, but more importantly, they memorize the process. So if they are weak in phonemic awareness, which is sound awareness of the sounds that letters make, or if they're weak in syllable awareness and being able to break words into syllables, we actually teach the children the process of taking words apart and putting them back together. And we do it at the word and sound level, at the syllable level, at the phrase level, at the sentence level, and then at the story level. So it carries them throughout everything that they're going to need for learning to read and being literate.
And that's one of the things when I was reading up on this. But you do that with Play-Doh or something fun,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. We have Play-Doh and we have racetracks, and we use the whiteboards, and we use shaving cream on the tables. And music. We're all up and moving. There are no desks in our building.
Really?
No desks.
That is the type of school or learning environment that any student, I'm sure, would love to absolutely be in. Well, we're going to take a break here, but when we come back, we're going to break down all the different chapters that Tammy talked about this morning and the different chapters with Mrs. Meyer's reading room. Stay with us. Welcome back to Racine Me. Mrs. Myers is changing the way that children are taught to read, and Lisa Gorowski is helping. She's an instructor and a parent as well. Thanks so much for joining in the conversation this morning.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate this. So we're talking about Mrs. Myers' reading room, and we just briefly mentioned before there's chapters. What is the idea behind the chapters?
The idea behind the chapters is that we have 4 rooms that the children move through as a process of each session. And so they have a level of expectation of what is going to happen in each room. The initial room is chapter 1.
Okay, what's in chapter 1?
Chapter 1 is the initial video room. That's the core vocabulary they start with as a class. And we build on that vocabulary. That vocabulary includes nouns, verbs, pronouns, prepositions. We take that vocabulary immediately in that room and apply it to phrases. We apply it to rhyming for the phonemic awareness or sound awareness that we had talked about. And then as the class progresses and the group dynamic progresses, we take the vocabulary that the children are using in chapters 2 and chapters 3, which we'll get to in a minute, and we insert that into the video. So then they're reviewing their vocabulary.
So that's what you were saying the next week. They see those words again. Now, Lisa, how long are we spending in these rooms? Is this a long time? Is it quick?
Each room is different.
Okay.
Each chapter is very different. Normally, chapter 1 is about 8 minutes.
Oh, okay, it's quick.
It is, it's very quick, but again, remember the children are up and moving. And so, I mean, the children may be going in a square formation, going forward, to the side, back, and just kind of moving, or we may do the London Bridges type of movement where 2 kids are having a bridge and they pop up underneath and each kid reads what's on the screen individually, or we'll have them work in groups, but again, it's very quick. And so 8 minutes for the first room about.
Okay, so then they go on to room 2. What happens in room 2?
Chapter 2 is our most favorite.
Is it?
And it is the iPad room.
Okay.
And this is where the children create their own stories. And the fun thing is they have fun. And they don't know that they're doing character development. They don't know that they're doing a plot. They don't know that they're making a story that has a beginning and an end. And in the process, we're helping them with their spelling. We're helping them with their sentence structure. We're helping them to put words in that they've forgotten. And in any case, they just think, here I am. This is fun. I can draw. I can put any colors I want. I can make it about superheroes. I can make it about rainbows that eat candy. Anything that they want, they're able to do. And in this room, we spend about 20 minutes.
20 minutes on this one. So is this kind of a culmination at the end of the program, then it becomes a book?
Absolutely. We publish the books, their books, for them at the end of each 9-week session, and they will get a hardcover copy of their book that they have written. We also have the capacity, and we didn't realize this until probably, a month ago, that we could also email the books. So if there is a grandparent that, that wants to see the book, or if they have a parent that's overseas in Afghanistan, we can send the book to them.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
So that they can actually read their child's book.
Or it can be recorded also on our software.
Oh,
they
really?
can hear the child reading the book, see the illustration.
On the email.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's great. And if that doesn't show you something tangible, a tangible result
Yes.
from this program, I don't know what does. So let's move on to room 3. What happens there?
In room 3, that's our manipulative room. That's where all the toys are.
Okay.
That's where we have the Play-Doh and the felt
Is this
boards.
I know you said the iPad room was a favorite, but this sounds like this one would be fun too.
There could be a competition. Yes, they don't want to leave any of the rooms when it's time to go. We spend about 15 to 20 minutes in this room, depending on how we get through the iPad room and how that wraps up. So we have a few minute flexibility between the process. When they come into the manipulative room, we have out on the table, the Play-Doh or the shaving cream. And one of the most fun things that they like to do is create with the Play-Doh and the different colors of Play-Doh, and we build sentence structure. And within that sentence structure, we will work with spelling or rhyming. So if they're creating a sentence about a cup, the cup is full of juice, then they may make a little cup to represent cup.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about cup and how to spell cup. And they have their sentence structure. And I said, well, what if you changed, the C in cup to another letter? What would it be? What if you put in a P? What would that sound like? The pup. The pup is full of juice. Now, is that silly?
Making me laugh here.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's all about laughter. The kids laugh constantly. And so they're playing with their words and they're discovering what they can do with their words and their sounds.
And this all kind of, you bring it back at the end there in chapter 4 and just kind of review what you did for the day. Is that how it works?
It is. We have our core curriculum along with the dynamic words, or the words that the kids want to read, are now on this screen in chapter 4. And the most interesting thing is chapter 1, the kids are kind of, you don't hear them as much. But by the time they work through and they reach chapter 4, they are all abuzz. They are just loud and screaming and just full of energy. And again, it's only about 8 minutes in there. But again, they're just so excited still to be reading these words and then to receive their popcorn when they come out.
Oh, is that the reward?
Yes, that is the reward.
Give them a little treat. Nothing wrong with that, for sure, for sure. Well, it sounds like such a neat concept, and I appreciate you. I can visualize these rooms, as we're kind of going through that here this morning. We should also mention that Lisa is a parent of one of the students that goes through. So we're going to take a quick break. Lisa's son is going to join us, as well as another parent and his daughter, to hear exactly what the kids think about all this. Stay with us. Welcome back to Racine Me. So who's benefiting from Mrs. Meyer's reading room? Well, these kids and their parents. Lisa's son Daniel joins us now alongside David and Rory. Thanks so much for coming back and bringing in your iPads this morning. We're going to get to those in just a second. So first, Lisa, how have you seen your son grow in reading, not only as being one of the instructors, but also being a parent?
That's a loaded question. I'd have to take it back just a little bit 3 years ago when we found out that my son at 4 had not heard anything between birth and 4 years old. And he was only saying sounds. And that was it. And even that, the sounds were distorted. So that's when I met Mrs. Myers. That's when I met Tammy, and we began to help Daniel. And the same techniques that are being used in Mrs. Myers are the same techniques that we have been using for 3 years, and I have seen huge improvement.
Really?
You're going to talk to him, you're going to see that he is able to respond in complete sentences. You'll hear a little bit off here and there, but this program for Daniel started 3 years ago. And now being able to be part of the opening of Mrs. Myers and helping out is truly a blessing. And Daniel, being in the program, he loves it. And it was once upon a time, he was reading like a robot and sounding everything out. And it seemed like overnight, within 3 or 4 weeks attending Mrs. Myers, that fluency kicked over.
Really?
And yes. Wow. And so, I mean, he's been working this program for a long time, but definitely in regards to him attending Mrs. Myers, attending the program, fluency kicked over, like I said, in about 3 or 4 weeks. And fluency is what brings understanding.
Absolutely. Wonderful. So, Daniel, do you feel like you're going to school again once you go to Mrs. Myers' reading room?
Kind of.
Kind of? But it's probably more fun. Mm-hmm. Tell me about it. What do you do?
We mostly read in the first, and then second we draw for 20 or 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. Then the third we do shaving cream, markers, Play-Doh, tracks.
What do you think you're learning?
Pretty a lot.
Yeah. What about your book? So that's one of the things that Mrs. Myers talked to us about. She said that you guys were all writing your own stories. So you have your story. Tell me about what it's like to make a story on one of the iPads.
It's like just like writing, you're just like typing and drawing.
What's your story about?
It's about Ninjago Planet.
Oh, it's about what?
Ninjago Planet.
What's that?
It's a Ninjago Planet that has like ninja people.
Oh,
instead of
really? Do you want to show the camera what you have? If you want to show this one over here, maybe people will understand about your planet a little better. Well, that's great. And so you're using some things that you're learning in the first room and all the other rooms to write your story. The Ninjago Planet. All right, that's great. Well, I can't wait to hear about the rest of your story. David, I want to ask you a question now. How did you initially get your daughter involved in Mrs. Myers' reading room?
Well, we know Mrs. Myers from having our son David in speech therapy. And so we heard of the reading room and we thought, well, this will help not only David, but Rory with reading, improving her reading, and then David just learning words, learning phrases. And so that was, you know, how Tammy did really, really well with David. We thought, hey, here's something that we can add, you know, add to their education and have fun doing it.
Have you seen an improvement in both of your kids?
Yes, definitely. David with rhyming words and Rory just reading, just being more confident in reading.
Rory, do you feel like you're a better reader?
I can pronounce words better.
Yeah. And how do you think you've learned all those things?
By doing Mrs. Myers' reading room.
Yeah, what's your favorite part? Because it seems like there's a lot of fun rooms.
Pretty much all of it and meeting new friends. That's like the best thing of all.
Are these some friends that you've made within the reading room that you now are friends with in school? No.
The kids that are in Mrs. Myers' reading room don't really go to my school.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Well, that's nice. You're meeting some other kids outside of school. Tell me about your story, because it seems like everybody has a very unique story.
Mine is like about different types of things, like superheroes and different things like that.
I want to show the camera because I know you have a nice picture. So tell me, so you're actually able to draw the picture. So you draw all these pictures and then you write a story. Is that right?
Yeah, like you get to like draw the picture and then you can type something about it.
How far along are you in your story?
About 11, 12 pages.
How long do you think it's going to be?
I'm not really sure about 2 pages, like 2 stories. That's you can do 2.
Oh,
you could also do 2 stories.
Wow, that's great. Well, it sounds like you're certainly learning a lot, and I hear that everyone likes the popcorn at the end.
Yes.
Is that right? Both of you do.
Yes.
Do you think that your son would be as far along in his reading as he is now had you not gotten hooked up with Mrs. Myers?
No, I don't. I have been trying a lot of things, and I'd have to say that there is a conglomerate of activities that would help, but for him to actually do it and like it is a different story.
Yeah. So you guys like the moving around to different rooms and jumping around. I hear you guys do some kind of like London Bridge. And
Yeah, that's what we did, I think.
Last time.
Yeah, on Saturday. It was fun.
Well, good. Well, that's exactly. I don't think that you could have sold it any better. It's fun.
That's
and,
right.
and it's certainly bringing a lot of smiles to all of your faces. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate your all's time. And we're going to take a quick break and tell you how you can get a little bit more involved in Mrs. Myers' reading room. Stay with us. Welcome back. So now you know how Mrs. Myers' reading room works. Here are some of the logistics and how to apply for scholarships. So there are scholarships available. You're trying to make this open to as many students as possible?
Absolutely. We want this to be a community program. So what we're looking at doing is providing scholarships through our Myers Reading Foundation.
And what's that?
That is, Lisa, would you like to?
That is our nonprofit organization that we designed to promote reading and literacy, and specifically scholarships for the Mrs. Myers Reading Room.
Oh, okay. So is this something outside of the reading room that you guys do too?
Completely different.
What do you do with that?
Well, at the moment, it provides scholarships.
Okay.
It's in the process of becoming up and running completely. We do have a board that already meets and is established, and we are very grateful to Racine Unified in our community for helping to support us in this. And we already have scholarships. We have many scholarship applications that we've already met and have ready when our classes come available.
Perfect. And so how long are these programs? Are we talking a 9-week program, is that right?
They run along with the school calendar.
Okay.
So they run 8 to 9 weeks, depending on the school breaks, twice a week.
Okay.
So the children meet between 16 and 18 times as their core group. The cost of the program, there's a registration fee, $45. Right now we're running a special $10 for registration.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
So that's coming along with our open house.
And tell us when the open house is.
The open house, the first one will be this coming Friday and Thursday and Friday, the 15th and the 16th from 2 to 6. We will have tips,
Treats
treats
and tours.
Yes, perfect.
treats and tours.
And are you encouraging parents and their kids to come out?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yes.
the more kids, the better.
Yes. Parents
Check
and children,
everything
come
out.
and look and see how much fun it is to learn to read.
That's wonderful. So you still have space then? When would the next program then start up?
March 24th will be our next program.
Okay, so that's when the 9 weeks begins.
That is. Come on.
Wonderful. And there's room for many more students?
We have room for many more students, and we're looking at some different ways to offer our program as well. So it's exciting.
So parents just have to register through you all? Do they need to be referred to you at all?
No, they just need to come and complete a registration form, choose the class that they would like for their child to attend, which days of the week they would like for them to attend.
that easy?
It's that
It's
easy.
that easy.
The scholarship program runs through an application process as well,
Okay.
but we can give applications at the open house. We also have our application online.
Perfect.
It's the easiest online.
Wonderful. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much for joining us here on Racine Me. Check out Mrs. Meyer's Reading Room.